What the heck? Okay, that's what I want. So yeah, I don't know, Deadpulse. Is there anything that you got out of the last one, or were those all concepts that you were familiar with? I think the two big ones that I wasn't sure if you were so aware of is like the shard hunt, big prioritization on sea and sky, especially with sky as an incentive location. Is there anything that you want to specifically talk about or look at for this one? Vorpal versus Xcal mistakes. Excellent. Okay, so red mage is slightly decent, but I think it has to be pretty extreme to not go fighter red mage, black mage in some regard, whether you bring a thief or not, or you, um, yeah, or you just decide to dan a party member off halfway through the seed. Okay. Ooh, that's pretty nice level 1 magic. Good decision. So just to clarify why this is a good decision, you have no level 1 magic, so we can get a sword and then we can fast up and kill Garland. Um, I don't know if I would have bought that wood shield, but okay. I can see why you did it. So at this point, unless you get a cabin or a heal pod, are you planning on talking to King and Sarah? Because you can't kill Astos, and you have no save strats right now. So are you going to exit Corneria Castle if after you kill Garland, or are you going to go back in? I'm taking the gamble. Okay, that's fine. I feel like if you're practicing for the Derby, that's probably the right play. Though I don't know if you. I feel like you might be able to afford the 45 seconds it takes. Once again, it depends on how much of an execution advantage you think you have. If I'm racing someone who I think is much slower than me in a one-on-one race, I would not risk it. But if I'm racing someone who I think is the same speed or equal, I might consider it. So here I would use that house. I know houses are valuable, but I would still do it because it just cuts down on the risk so much. But yep, good play. Really nice adjustment out of the early game here. I think some players would struggle a lot more, but this was good. So slab bottle, completely useless. You have enough gold. I wouldn't check Matoya here. Okay, an immediate use of encounter manipulation. Very nice. Oh, one note. Actually, that's incorrect. So the reason why that's incorrect is because you should be checking to see if the first encounter exists on the sea or not. It might not, which would save you a ton of time throughout the seed, versus if you're always encounter manipulating one. So I would be going straight onto your boat rather than burning one and seeing if that exists or not. Because remember, the sea has less encounters than the overworld. This is gross, but it's fine. Good. Good cell selection. Nice. Good. Good. Correct docking location. You check magic first. Yeah. Gross. Quake. Yep. Good. Confuse is an interesting buy. I think I agree with it. Does what I say make sense about the C? Wow, that was a good quake. Okay, cool. Cube. Interesting. So floater is definitely okay. Yep, I was gonna say floaters should be coming early here. Um, hmm, this is awkward. Yeah, I agree with this prioritization. So there's no reason to go to Elfland. I would probably consider checking Matoya here. Ooh, ooh. Popping. No, this can't be right. Interesting. I'm curious. Uh, so I think this is wrong. The reason I think this is wrong is not because you're going to pop. It's because you have access to Crescent Lake, right? This has free canal. Frostwolves are bad here. Peds would be really good. You can check all four encounter locations outside Crescent Lake. I don't think it's that risky. I think it's just slow. I think just walking to here is slow when you have options outside of the inner sea. The reason pop is so good in like vanilla is because it's available in the early game when you have access to no higher encounter zones. But here you could go to Crescent Lake and check all four and then tent up the exact same as what you're doing here. I think there's one time I've seen pop been correct, and that's when the key was super super expensive and there was just nothing in Marsh. Like nothing. Like it was. Was it CC and Spells Up? I don't remember who it was. It was the spring tournament, and they couldn't get out of the inner sea, and they needed the key, and the key was like $40,000 in Elfland, and they couldn't leave the inner sea, and they already went to Marsh and checked the spike tiles, and had opened all the rest of the chests, and that was the only time I think pop was correct. Here you have so many other options. Good use of Quake, by the way. Yeah, I think in general, removing Quake from your or not Quake, removing pop from your like ideas is generally correct. Not in total, but like very very rarely going to to pop. I think I've popped never, and I've probably played 1,000 seeds. The levels are nice, but I mean the experience is low enough here that you can get levels pretty easily. Hey DVS, how's it going tonight? I'm surprised they didn't get more people. I thought a few more people would come for Duckling week 2, but I think there's other stuff going on. People are racing. Oh, it's Wednesday. There's no weekly race, but thanks for hanging out. It is the floater, so I mean I can see. You still don't. Yeah, you're just not getting enough money. And we're going back. Okay. Already though, Shad, I think you can see like just the immediate difference in the encounter manipulation, like right off the bat. Of course, here with a third step encounter, it makes a big difference, but there's encounter manipulation happening, which is saving overall encounters, but there's also game like strategic differences because of the fact that there's an encounter 3 steps off the power cycle, which is a powerful tool in your back pocket for getting some early levels. You can check things like Crescent Lake. You can check the very beginning of of Ice Cave for a good encounter. Yeah. So it turns out the trolls have nasty spells. Yeah, you could have cleared Marsh already, or you could have turned in the sages. I think Deadpulse realizes though that in hindsight this perhaps wasn't the correct play, but I can see why you make it at the time with like no sweepers, and you're like, what am I doing? No, Marsh is not incentivized here. I was talking to Crabcakes actually about this, and we both kind of declared that going to if you needed like a lot more money, you just go to Earth 1 to check the spikes to get the gold. You also open a few chests there, but you can check those spikes to get gold a lot faster. Because remember, even Like spike tiles are still even faster because you don't need to tent, reset, all that jazz every time. Anyways, that's over with. We've discussed a little bit about how to get money. Let's see what we do next. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, no. In this particular case, I think that going there is not necessarily the play. So do you know the whole encounter table at this point? Like, do you know the second C reset point? I guess you don't need to know the second C reset point. Oh, you do. Okay. And it looks like the first encounter is on the C, so it didn't matter. Oh, you guessed. Okay, that's fine. I mean, when it's that long, guessing is fine. I would still probably figure it out, but you're not really. Actually, no. In this case, I wouldn't even bother because you're in the air right away. But on a more traditional flag set, I think it's worthwhile to figure out. I use music. You can use whatever you want, whether it's counting seconds in your head, but I think music's the easiest way. Sages, Sarda, Bottle Slab. Sages. This should be Sages, Sarda, Melmond, Bottle Slab, probably. Yeah, so the other thing, yeah, he didn't have enough money. I don't know if it's fast to go. I think it's slightly faster to go around the bottom than it is to go around the outside. Just because the floater dock is not all the ways over and you have to go up and around, but I might be wrong. I usually do it not because of that. I usually do it because I'm stopping in Elfland on the way, so it's hard for me to say. I've done both, to be honest. Maybe DVS or Deadpulse knows which one's like explicitly faster if you're just going straight to the airship dock. Yep. How much money do you have? Not enough. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I think they are remarkably close. I know it's faster to go to Crescent Lake that way, but I think to the dock it's like negligible. Good. You can see a menuing difference here. Um, we're at the same speed, but like the amount of time that you're actually only 1.5 times versus 2 times, but the amount of time that you're spending in shops is noticeably less than Shad. So that's just another thing to notice. Just like it's like that quick glance and then immediately moving out rather than sitting on those menu screens, and that adds up to minutes over the course of the seed. Yeah, you can't take the spikes because you only have Quake. I'm just wondering if you should be going to Elfland soon, but this makes sense. Okay, now you're going to Elfland. You were checking here for money, right? And also key locks, and also that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I might have considered key locks. Oh no, you just made 20 grand. You don't need it anymore. But still, key locks are a consideration there. Just because it's entrance floor, or sorry, just because it's shard hunt and that's just like super chest dense. But yeah, you don't have exit warp. You don't have TNT. I can see delaying it. Okay, so Sky is a huge goal right now because there's an incentive item and also tons of chests. Good. I like the key lock checks. Also, another thing to notice is just that you haven't really changed any of your gear for like the whole seat outside of the very beginning, which I agree with. Wow, that's gross. Wall. Okay. Ice 3 coming in to save the day. Yeah, house is cool. So once you're done encounter manipulating, you don't need the tent so badly, but it's fine. Good. Another bloody seed without extra warp, man. This is gross. That's an interesting way to route that. I wonder if that's faster. So you're going up white magic, checking level 4, coming back around through the store, and then checking back in black magic at the end. Versus the screen transitions. I don't know. I'd have to time it. Is that something that you came up with, or is that something that one of the vets told you? You do that if you don't have warp? Hmm. I usually exit out of the level 4 shop, but I can see the benefits of that. If he's checking armor, I think it's faster. Yeah. Okay, where are we going next? Still at 1 shard. That happens. That's fine. Did we get the crystal? Sorry, sometimes when I'm watching, I don't. Okay, ribbon, red mage, knight. Okay, sure. You don't have life, I guess, so that's fine. I usually put on my red mage preemptively, but I can see the logic for going on your knight or fighter. Good. Yep, saving in the air is correct there. Something I've discussed in the past. You can save in the air, so if you don't like what you get here, you can just reset out immediately. So I think with these relatively early airship flags, and also coming from free enterprise, something that needs to be considered is just like taking a few more overworld fights. I mean, at this point, I don't know if you have enough. I don't know what level you actually are, but just casting Ice 3, especially when you're kind of out and about and it's only a single fight, just to try and get up to level 10 to 12 at least, so that way you have a few more casts. But this obviously isn't ideal. Like, Ice 3 is not going to do. You're level 10. Okay. Yeah, like I would probably be taking those giants with Ice 3, but looking for gold bracelets and pro rings. So something to consider when you were at that previous shop and you were buying things. I guess the silver bracelets are okay because gold bracelets might be really expensive, but you're going to be finding them anyways. So you can consider just like not doing that whole shop and just putting it off until you find your final endgame gear. But that's pretty minor. Good skipping of the item shop. Okay, so your 2 favorite dungeons are now available. You have Brack for Kraken, but you have just no way to kill things there. What's the plan now? Okay, continue the incentive chain. Looking for a Massa, because of course that will make a big difference. Canoe also helps. Hmm. The magic in this seed really, really sucks. Yeah, like still don't have loot, so obviously you're going to need to keep on opening incentive boxes. But if you're just missing the loot and you don't need the sword, you can go straight into Sky, for example, because you're guaranteed to get that incentive box and you want to go there anyways, right? But I think what you've done is fine. Hey, 2 slices. 3 slices. I've generally been skipping the middle cardia aisle. I don't know if that's what you decide to do. The middle cardia just has relatively few chests for how much time it takes to go through, but also same thing here. You can use that. This is actually where I learned that trick to save in the air. This cardia is also not great. The only reason this one's slightly better is because you don't have to walk as much on the overworld. Yep. Okay. Sky's the right play. You have houses. So what you're wanting to do here is take a few fights on Sky 1 Excuse me. That's the perfect fight. No, go back. Nightmares are weak to Ice 3, and Badmen aren't, but they can be punched down by your fighter. That Nightmare Evilman fight is perfect, and you want to be getting to level 16 to 16 or 17 before you climb up to the top of here. Also, in considerations are that there's once again 4 encounter zones around the Sky or Mirage Tower where you can look for something to punch or something to Ice 3 down. Uh, so I like this play. You need to get levels though, and you're perfectly set up for it. Like this play, you're really nicely set up for it, but you need levels. Good. I like that you didn't equip the flame armor right away. Finish this whole floor. Take it. Good. Does that make sense? Like you said, this is where you're questioning yourself. I don't know what you were questioning yourself on, but like my thing here is I have my dungeons laid out in front of me. I know exactly what I want to do. I just need to get enough levels to do it. And am I going to get those levels doing Ice Cave and Ordeals and Waterfall, or am I going to get those levels like in Sky? Um, and I think here getting the levels in Sky is totally fine. Wait, where are we going? Okay, so we've redecided. So we said, okay, we're going to check Mirage 1, which I mean is okay, but okay, let's take a second here. If we're just going to check Mirage 1, why are we not going to Volcano for Armory instead? Just a thought. Also, Armory could be another place where you can check some grinds, use that Ice 3. Ice 3 is great in Volcano. Um, okay, so we're going to go for Mermaids now, I hope. No, 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 no. We are not in free enterprise anymore. EXP boost, not a big deal. I mean, yes, we want more shards, obviously, but you don't need EXP boost in order to get up to level 14 or whatever, and then you can clear the rest of the seed. The fastest way to get EXP boost too is to kill bosses, and the thing that you're saving grace right now is that you have Bracket level 3, so you can kill Kraken and Tia. I mean, Mermaids is a good play, but I think you just want a few levels first. You can save a step by walking in front of that door. These are the exact 2 chests I like to check on this floor, by the way, so I approve of this. The seed sucks, by the way. You have like no fire 3, no lightning 3, no fade, no nuke, no warp, no exit, no life. So like this is unusually garbage too. But I think the only thing I don't like here is this I think it's just carryover from week 1, but like this concept of like I'm going to get my stuff and then I'm going to grind or get levels just is not it's not really the way Final Fantasy in general is played, especially in like this style of flag set. I think it's much more the I'm going to take some fights as I go, get to a reasonable level, and then I'm just going to clear and get the rest of my levels kind of in a roadmap, right? So I'm going to somehow get to level 16, and then I'm going to take 3 levels in Sea and 4 levels in Sky, and then I'm going to win. That's like the type of thought process that I'm doing. And that was like, how am I going to get to level 16? Is I'm going to take 5 fights off the power cycle on the bottom floor of Mirage, or I'm going to take a few grind tiles with my Ice 3, or I'm going to find Tyros and punch them down with my Masa. Not on this seat, of course, but I'm just giving some examples about how to get to those first few levels, get that kickstart going. Or up to level 6, I'm going to take frickin' ogres and creeps outside of Elf Castle, just when I'm walking around. So I think that needs to come into play here, is that this is no longer like the grind fast free enterprise. Like we're into, I need to take some levels along the way. I need to get up to safe diving, and then I want to go kill T. I want to go kill Kraken. I want to go to Mermaids. I want to clear Sky 1 and 3. Mirage 1, Mirage 2. Ooh, that's nice. Like Ice 3 is definitely a viable sweeper here. Also, this is a side note, but Ice 3 and Quake are actually the perfect spells to deal with everything in Waterfall if you need to, because you can Quake the golems and stuff, and you can Ice 3 the nightmares. So just a side note. My favorite save. Wait, what? Okay, sure. Okay, I guess you're burning the encounter. Okay, okay, fine, fine, fine. That's the one time you get to use that house. But you have houses and stuff anyway, so what you did was totally fine. You took an extra step there. I feel like your gameplay is still generally pretty good. I think the concepts are just a little bit over free enterprise to, and you took an extra step there. You can walk down this, so you want to walk down the right, and then you want to walk down the left. So you get a free step right here. I think your thought processes are still a little bit too free enterprisey and not enough like play it kind of like a too loose flag set, except you don't need to open all the chests. Oh, you actually didn't know the free step in front of doors. Okay, well, you get a free step in front of a door. This fight's not ideal. Okay, it's never mind. It's pretty damn good. Just because it has no HP. But keep in mind that Gershark can have like 700 HP. Ooh, this is terrible. These are dinosaurs. So, and I don't think they're weak to Quake. So they have max MDef, correct? I actually don't know Ankylos that well because screw Ankylos. I never fight them. But unless they're weak to Quake, that's Quake is not going to work. Yeah, the bottom one ate the Quake, but it feels not right. I'll have to look it up after. So this dive's gone pretty well for you. Um, oh, nice. Nice. This Kraken's gonna be a little touch and go. So on this Kraken, you have two different choices. You can either put your Rue Stick on your Red Mage or your Knight. Um, your Red Mage because you want to try and brack him down, and then you have a backup of melee strats, or your Fighter because you want to just try and melee him down. But basically, whoever's the priority is probably who you're going to have to start rusing. I would guess the strategy is probably to ruse your Fighter and try and... but you need to fast him too. This is tricky. Okay, let's see what you do. Actually, no, I need to make a decision here. What would I do? You have a single broadcaster. You have a fighter who's got a kind of garbage weapon, but it's all right. He's level 16. It's like 70 to something scaling. It's like 150% max scale in. Your fighter's pretty well armored though. It's likely to survive a punch. Yeah, grade X plus 5. You have no healing either. Your red mage is relatively well armored. I probably move my red mage to slot 1, ruse my knight in slot 3, and ruse my knight. I ruse up my knight, move my red mage to slot 1, and just go all in on the knight rather than doing a split strat and even going for Brax. I think I just play safety because the spells in this pool are very unlikely to go through that ribbon knight. Yeah, I would go all in on the knight. It's close though. This is tricky. It's a much easier play when you have two Brack casters and you just ruse your knight and Brack, 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 Brack. Except maybe like a single fast if your Bracks start missing. Okay, so you're doing the same plan that I had, except you just didn't move your knight down to the bottom slot. That's fair. The only reason I would move my knight down is so that my knight doesn't get one shot, but I always forget that the scaling's relatively low, but if this is 200% scaling, this Kraken can 100% one-shot your knight. Oh god. You're only at 2 stacks of ruse, right? But I guess he's almost dead, so you're swinging. Yeah, that makes sense. Good stuff. I think the Brack strats are too dangerous there, so I agree with what you did. Once again, I could definitely be wrong too, but so I guess what you did wasn't too much of a hot mess. You're C going into C at level 12 was a little bit risky, but you're going to mermaids anyways. I think the one routing mistake that you probably made here was that I don't know why you went to Sky. Like, yes, we can check 5 chests in Mirage 1, but like it's just not worth going over there. If your plan is to clear Mirage, that's an okay plan, but then you just need to get some levels before you go in. You need to be like level 14 or 15, and then you can get some more levels on the way up and brack down Tia. But I think in this case, because you had the Oxale doing Waterfall, especially now, but doing Waterfall into Mermaids into Kraken is probably the best overall play here. I don't know. Okay, so easy straight to promotion now. Ribbon, the one item in the game that's worth equipping immediately. I don't know. What do you think of that assessment? Because you're not if you're going to Sky, you want to single dip it. If you're going to here, you want to single dip it. I don't know how badly you want to do Waterfall, but you probably are doing it anyways because you want that Masa. So because you're going to Waterfall anyways, Waterfall is a good way to get a few levels. You don't have Warper Exit, but you're not getting Warper Exit. So you go here, clear Waterfall, go to Mermaids, get some more levels. You're level 15 or something by the time you go, and then you go clear out Kraken. Once you do that, now you're ready to go to Sky. Man, these eyes are incredibly free. Yeah, eyes for 5 fights here is fine. The thing is, the truth of the matter is you just don't have a good way to kill enemies in Sky either. So like Sky's not the greatest place to get levels for you. So because of that, you're going to be running more frequently than you would if you had like a nuke at even level 5. So this fight's great for EXP, by the way, with Ice 3. Yeah, I went after I went to Sky. I panicked because I couldn't leave, even though I got screwed on Sky 3. Right? Yeah. In Shard Hunt in general, you don't want to be diving to the bottom of dungeons if you're not going to complete the boss, right? Because 4 shards is so much for Tia. Like I think you made the right play that you weren't ready to dive Sky at that point. There was just a little bit of lacking foresight in terms of your routing. And like once you were in Mirage, you're like, now what? And I would be okay if your plan there was to get levels and then go up because you had houses, but that obviously wasn't the case. But you're in pretty good shape now. A little unfortunate where those eyes are because you got a bunch of levels on your knight, but I guess he doesn't really have that many spells that matter. Xkel's nice. The Xkel's going to run into the same. Oh, right. You already mentioned. You spoiled yourself earlier. Xkel's going to run into the same not being able to damage final bosses as Shad's was. Yeah, Scott. So you definitely do know, or I don't know if you knew, but you definitely are playing the correct like entrance floor way, or sorry, not entrance shard hunt way. God, that's always entrance floor. The correct shard way of like Sky and Sea are my favorite places. Yeah, Team C and I mean, you might be Team C and Sky to begin with, but like in shard hunt, they really are your best friends. Yeah, you don't like. I like the. So if you can kill Carry, I kind of like Volcano in general. If you can't kill Carry, still going to Armory to get some of those early levels should be something that's on your radar. Once again, how do I get to level 10 to 12 or 14 or 16 or whatever so I can go to Sea and Sky, right? It's not an immediate play, but it definitely is a play. Also, avoiding ice in this seed makes tons of sense because of the how awful um because of how awful your warp and exit is. Yeah, confused too, exactly. You have not only do you have confused, you also have level 1 fast and temper, right? So, fighter in slot 3 with a ruse stick, or fighter in slot 2 with decent armor and a ruse stick, and your people are just fasting and tempering. A fasted tempered knight is going to kill anything with a small dagger. Like, if you get 2 turns off of tempers and fast, you're killing anything. Temper's broken. So I don't know what your target level is right now. Um, I guess it depends on if you're thinking about you're getting the masa or not at this point. That's what I would be considering at least. If you're thinking you're going to get the masa, then 24 is nice. If you're thinking you're not, you need to consider, am I going higher or am I just going to go all in on fast and temper? Because you have so much cast of fast and temper, you could be okay. Well, okay, if you're going to go for the extra hit with a 3-person party, 27 is your level breakpoint. That's correct. It's just like, are you going for the level breakpoint or not? Um, if you are, you might want to consider taking like those Naga airs, for example. They're weak to, with 2 of them, they're weak to single target damage. Also like that fight, but I can see why you're skipping it. There's your loot. So that is your go mode, except for shards. I think the walking grind, you guys aren't walking grind lovers because, like, to be honest, the Duckling flag sets haven't really been all that great, except for like week one of the boot camp for walking grind. But something to, work towards, especially as the spring tournament approaches, because it will be almost certainly a lot more of that required. Experience goes down to 2.2 or 2.3 or 2.1 times plus 150. Um, with that much lower experience, you need to be taking a lot more fights. And if you're stationary grinding, it's going to take forever. So you need a combination of walk and grind and stationary fights. Just like, free enterprise gets you in bad habits for encounter manipulation. I think really high experience also can get you in bad habits. Are you going to take the patrolling Warmech? So keep in mind that it is patrolling Warmech here. Um, so you can choose to fight Warmech, which is something to consider, especially with a 3-person party. Yeah, those are so good. Okay. So he said if he found it, he was going to, but it didn't appear. Man, your shark count is such garbage. Like, not your fault, just like, what the heck is going on? Yeah, tempting, but no nuke. Yeah, and you killed Kraken too. I think Shad, something to see here though is that like the benefits of that 3-person party, because going to get it into those higher levels a lot more easily, which is going to make something like Excal vs Vorpal a lot better. He also, of course, has access to Fasted Temper, but no nuke and stuff has been a little bit rough. Nice. Hold that gold bracelet in the air. So I think Volcano's the easy next play here, unless you really want the Masa. Once again, Earth Cave is the devil. We never go into Earth Cave. And yeah, you are getting really nice levels here, though. 27 is definitely achievable, and you've hit a lot of these R Hydras, and those have been good fights to take. I think I underestimate how high the experience is, and you've done a good job of like working on your level curve, so I can approve of that. This is pretty easy swing brack. Oh, okay, you're going all in on your fighter. That makes sense too. I think I'd be bracking away, but whatever. This works too. Let's see, 3 rounds of combat. No, you could be upwards of 5 rounds of combat here if he max rolls. I think brack is probably, you on average brack on turn 2 or turn 3. Swinging is going to be turn 4. I think bracking probably better, but I mean, if you're going to go for the consistent strategies, I think you're fine either way. Yep, good. Landing in the good spot even. So nice use of encounter manipulation again. Yeah, those are the 2 chests I checked too. Good. Gross. Really gross. Yeah, so pretty interesting stuff overall. Um, I guess if you have to go to, all these places anyways, you might as well do it. Gross is close to the word I said when I saw those mugs. Yeah. Oh, hello. Wow, this is a beefy fighter, man. What the heck? I also checked these 2 chests. Uh, that's not a bad place to ice 3, by the way, but I guess if you don't want more experience, like, you're pretty good for levels. Yeah, no, it's going pretty good. Hope everyone's having a decent day. It's been nice getting back on the VOD reviews the last few times, and these week 2 flags are ones that I like quite a bit. I'm a big fan of opening boxes and going around and kind of clearing the game a little bit more as opposed to just going from incentive location to incentive location. So yeah. So you need 2 more shards, I believe, plus carry. Did you just put that on your second character? One more shard. So at this point, you check both Agama chests if you don't get a shard in the first one. Gross. Oh, you didn't heal. Oh god, how badly do you get punished? Wait, you're still not healing? I mean, I guess your knight can solo carry anyways, and I guess getting the extra levels on him is totally fine. Okay, no, I agree with this actually. I would have healed your knight, but I agree with the leaving your red mage down. Once again, this is actually really good use of this. I would have healed your knight though. Are you still 1 shard short? Yeah, okay. Dwarf's Armory is the play here. Good. Ooh, risky checks. These are slower, but I mean, you could get lucky. I guess if you want levels too. I think I would still go to Dwarf Armory though. This is only 3 chests. Or risk Topher lock with. Wait, what? Better trap. Yeah, better trap treasures are on. Oh, okay, you're saying you agree with what he was doing, but I don't think better trap treasures increases the chance of there being shards there, does it? I thought it just increased the chance of there being gear, unless I didn't understand it correctly. No, no, I know, but like he's not looking for gear, he's looking for shards. Yeah, okay, okay. What are we doing? Wait, did you not get a shard? That's ridiculous if you didn't get a shard. Oh, you think it increases shard chance? Okay, I gotta double check with the dev. I don't actually know that, if it increases shard chance with better trap treasures or not. I know there's like an elite pool of gear that it increases the chance of you getting. Wait, dwarves didn't have a shard? What the actual heck? Well, I know it's possible to find shards in better trap treasures because better trap treasures are not guaranteed to have shards. Or sorry, not guaranteed to have better trap treasures, but I don't know if it increases, like if the shards are part of that pool or not. It's probably important to know. Okay, you find your shard though. That's gross. Yeah, I saw that. When yeah, more Duckling Weekly garbage. I had to go to the Shanigan room to get my last shard. That's gross. Okay, so you have two ribbons, you have wall, you have fast temper, heal 3, Xcal +2, and a Vorpal. Trying to hit that breakpoint, so taking the gas dragons. 3 ribbons? Okay. Negligible number of ribbons. The important ribbons here are ribbon 1 and 2. Okay, so you hit your breakpoint, which is nice. And once again, Chad, that's the difference that him going down to 2-man here made sure that fighter hit that breakpoint. Also, his red mage got over nuke range. So then I take like 3 more fights. I mean, so once again, my golden rule of Topher: if you're not ready for Topher when you go in, you're not ready for Topher. So don't take fights on the way in case something bad happens. But one gas dragon fight to get the extra levels is fine. I mean, I don't know what you're wiping to here. I guess things can get scary, especially with 3 people. But you have no cure 4. You only have heal 3. That is a consideration. But you have 2 rue sticks. Oh, you have no life. Right. Okay. So extra levels are important as well for that regards. Yeah, your magic is so bad. Oh god, Quake strats. Of course you get nuked. Wow. You got punished for that cheeky Quake. But I never do that, but I can see. I don't see the argument for Quake there, but if you don't want to burn all your fasts and tempers, I can see that. But I would probably be going double fast there turn 1 if you think he dies to a single fast swing. But that you got punished super hard for that there. It is unusual to not have like a fire 3 to even cast because a lot of the time there you're casting swing fire 3. Those are not the bottom of rooms, so you don't save steps by walking along the bottom here. This is the right play, by the way, to have your fighter in slot 1 because your red mage can't die. You might want to still consider, just keep in mind that when it's like really touch and go, if you really don't want to wipe, cast Ice 3, cast chip damage. Yes, it's like slightly slower, but in this case, like wiping is very much a priority, and taking out 100 extra health can be the difference between 2 turning it and 3 turning it. Um, okay, okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So this is where I was wondering, because you had your second ruse item. I don't know if you ever moved it to your red mage, but this is where I was wondering if you were going to like go like double ruse or what. Since you're not speed and powering, It's tricky. This is a really hard fight. You're in a really tough spot. I don't think speed and power works, so I think you have to play defensive to a certain extent. You can hope that Kraken never back rows your red mage, but it's kind of inevitable if he gets 5 swings. Um, the play here is likely either ruse. It's probably ruse for 1 to 2 turns, and then fast on turn 2 or turn 3. Well, okay, death touch. Okay, but Kraken here has functional death touch. I guess he has pretty high armor, so maybe he survives. But your red mage is probably dying to a punch in most situations, anyways. Um, I guess, man, you're scaling so low. Maybe not, but in general, Kraken will one punch almost anything. Um, I feel like the play here is likely to 60ish absorb. Okay, yeah, maybe not in this particular case. Especially with the scaling once again. Like the spring tournament, for example, is probably going to be in the realm of 80 to 220ish, probably. I don't know exactly where, but we're talking, a lot higher median as well as a lot higher maximum. Um, I guess if you think that your red mage can survive a punch, fast temper makes a lot of sense because your red mage is probably getting punched once at most. If you don't think so, going ruse, 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 fast maybe then, and then swing, ruse again. Yeah, death touch happens. I mean, Kraken has death touch. That sucks. If you think he can survive a punch, that's probably the right play. You can still win this though. Vorpal +2 without bonk. You have an extra swing. Yeah, it's probably reasonable. I don't know what the right answer is here. Vorpal's the right answer in general. I'm having trouble adjusting to the Duckling scaling of only 150% stats because the absorbs might not be that high. I feel like on Chaos it's probably correct. On Tia it's close. It's a big difference if you have Power Bonk. If you have Power Bonk or something, it's definitely Vorpal. Oh god, you got so lucky. I mean, not like lucky, but if that slow 2 hit, you're just dead. Gross. We're getting just all the non-elemental AoEs out of our chaoses here. So you lost your red mage to a death touch Kraken 2, and you could have played slightly more defensively, but it's oh, Caleb thinks. But I don't think there's much you could have done there. I think what you could have considered was resetting after Lich. But I can see why you continued to go because your black mage is likely to die at some point anyways. Magic is absolute garbage, so you're in a totally different situation here. But obviously, fast is what you need against this chaos. Solo fighter is not going to cut it. So if you die to Lich again here, which I doubt you're going to do, but if you did, you probably want to reset out of the Lich fight. That's probably the only consideration or thing you could have changed. You could have gone slightly more defensive against Kraken, but once again, Kraken is going to do as Kraken does. Um, you don't reset at Kraken 100%. At that point, you're too deep. You're through Kraken. You go for it after Kraken. I I think resetting at Lich is a serious consideration, but I probably would have continued with 2 ribbons and 2 ruse sticks. I think I just would have played a little bit more defensively against Kraken. But once again, I could have gotten punished. Like Kraken with Death Touch, not much you can do. Um, Maybe the Vorpal is incorrect as well without any tempers. And relatively low absorb bosses, but you could also be hitting this chaos with your Xcal and getting 0 damage. Um, so I think the Vorpal's still relatively okay. Does the Exhale do more damage? I don't have a good spidey sense for the scaling because of the absorb um, differences. Only top tier gear? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, okay, Exhale's better. That makes sense. Okay, Wildhem coming in huge as usual. Yeah, you don't want to go to, if you're looking for shards, don't go to places with better trap treasures, which means avoid Toflocked. Yeah, like crits are a damage multiplier. Um, so they do better, and also of course they cut through absorb. So you need to consider both of those things, and crits make things that are tempered do so much more damage. Yeah, I understand that, but now that I know that better trap treasure is not included, you basically have one chest and then a very low chance on the other two. Dwarves seems like the odds on play. Yeah, exactly. It makes them less likely to be there. Also, Exhale plus 2 is pretty good, although the crit rate on Exhale is atrocious. Oh, come on. Oh, the beauty turn order. I mean, this is how your first dive could have gone as well, to be fair. Like, I don't think you misplayed that badly. Your levels are in a good spot, your spells are in a good spot, your weapon's okay. What's your plan against Kraken, though? If your knight gets death touched, you lose. Kraken had how much HP? It was too fast, so I didn't pay attention. Do you know how much HP Kraken had at this point? Did you count last time? 900-ish? You're three-shotting, two-shotting probably, if you get fast and temper off. Yeah, you're two-shotting. You can't let your fighter get hit though. I you probably go. You can beat Chaos without your Black Mage. To be honest, your Black Mage isn't going to do much against Chaos, so you put your Black Mage in slot 1, I think. If he has Death Touch, because otherwise this could go very, very, very wrong for your fighter, because all the armor in the world. Yeah. Yeah, that's the right. Yeah, I agree with all of this. Yeah, okay. Cool. I mean, obviously, not getting punched is helpful, but I think that was the best play for the situation. Yeah, this is also correct. You have such ridiculous absorb. It's crazy. So, I mean, you got to keep in mind here, Excal's making a difference, but fast and temper are also making massive differences here. If you had a Vorpal that was getting fasted and tempered, you'd be doing probably just as much damage. Did that hit? I guess not, because you're tempering. Yeah, I'm not sold on your math. Um, okay, yeah, no, slow 2 definitely hit. So you want to be so fast is definitely the priority here, right? Because the way slow 2 works, you start at 1, fast moves you up one stage to 2, and slow 2 moves you down one stage. So you're at 1, slow 2 hits you go down to 0, which is one hit. Fast goes you back up to 1. You can go back up. Yeah. Oh, you didn't do it at all. Okay. So I disagree with that play. You know that Nuke's next on his spell list. Temper's not going to make a difference. Your fighter surviving another turn is going to make a difference. So you should be going heal 3 on your red mage as opposed to because your fighter was the way you lose this fight, right, is your knight dies to Nuke. he needs probably 2 more turns. If you get nuked like with turn order, you lose. But the way you lose this fight is if your fighter gets max rolled nuke. You don't need another temper. That extra temper is going to increase your damage by 20. No, not 20. It's going to increase your damage by 100. But like that's not the end of the world here. So you heal 3 there. Nice turn order. Cool. So not a ton to say, but definitely some room for improvement. Like your overall mechanics are good, your menu execution is good, your spell selection in battle is pretty good, your encounter manipulation is good. Routing, I think we kind of discussed roughly that. I think a bunch of your time loss here was just in your overworld like routing decisions. So pop grind was definitely a time loss. Another time loss, like single dipping partial sky. Um, you know, maybe better to do volcano for that, for example. A lot of your time loss was just the seed sucked, and that's just the way it's going to be. But the way that you lose time, like if you were racing, I don't know, me, for example, I think the ways that I potentially beat you here are on those things, on those overworld decisions. You know, if I single dip sky, or get levels and then clear sky in one go, then go over to sea. Outside of that, I think it was pretty good. I don't know, is there anything else, any other specific questions? I think I don't fully agree with your Vorpal X. I think unbuffed Vorpal versus unbuffed Xcal is kind of tricky, but in this case, it was much, much, much more important that you get fast temper. I think you still win 80% of Temple of Fiends revisiting on the scaling after you get nuked by Lich, so you could have considered resetting, but I don't. I think it's totally fine to go on, and once you hit Kraken, it's totally fine to go on. Your absorb is insanely high, and I kind of forget that because I'm not like when I started playing, Blurst wasn't quite this extreme, and B, um, the scaling is lower, so the bosses don't hit as hard. But that range of damage, I think you were probably correct that both your red mage and your fighter could have taken a punch from Kraken. So I think your play is definitely justifiable then to ruse your fighter once and then swing and then go with your red mage and fast him up. So I don't really think your first Topher dive you made like necessarily bad decisions. I think you just got punished a little bit. Um, and that's the way it is. But I think the time saves that you definitely had full control over where you're routing earlier. Um, and I think that's where they're like those decisions strictly wrong is a little bit strong, but I would say that those are probably the ones that are wrong 95% of the time. Um, honestly, like Topher is so much feel and like the type of player you are, what you're used to, how many times you played the scaling. Um, so yeah, if those are the two decisions you were shaky on, that's probably good. I would encourage you as well. Just think about taking fights that aren't necessarily amazing early just to get some experience, just to get a little bit higher level, just so you have a few more spell charges. So when you're going through C the first time, you have the spell charges to get through, things like that. Because I think that's just a difference from, free enterprise, and it's hard to shift back. But yeah, anything else that any other questions or anything? Yeah, I mean, I've practiced. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. It's hard to go between the scalings because they make a huge difference. That's why when you like are practicing like a tournament flag set where it's all the same flag set throughout the tournament, it makes a huge difference because you get so many more reps. Your instincts are really good. Like I think my instincts are still from last year's spring tournament flags. Um, so, but yeah, thanks for hanging out. Hopefully the VOD reviews are helpful. I think we discussed some important stuff and oh, okay, so the fighter had thief luck. Yeah, I think that this three-person comp could definitely work even without the fighter having thief luck. Um, but I do like the thief there. I also don't mind fighter red black black if you're gonna dan off like one black mage really aggressively and then the second one even sometimes. So like it depends on how comfortable you are with killing characters off and how much you care about that time loss. Like it's really different compared to a black belt where you have to kill characters off. Also, if you have a Massa +5, your fighter needs to be level 24 at most, right? And maybe even lower if you have fast temper and you have life on your fighter. So, those four-person comps can be effective, and I'm honestly a pretty big fan of four-person comps with the ability to maneuver around them. Like, for example, on the Duckling Weekly, I just ran Fighter Thief Red Black, and I didn't dan anyone off for the entire seed. Um, so,